Where did it go? Hello, sorry. My fault. It's not a link live, but I can't figure out where my go live button is, but we are live. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Link Live. My name is Marina Mayer, Editor-in-Chief of Food Logistics and Supply and Demand Chain Executive. I'm here with the crew, my usual crew, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Brielle Jekyll. I'm the Associate Editor.
And I am McKenna Morales, and I am the Assistant Editor.
And before we dive into our discussion today, which is just about top industry trends, things that we're seeing, things that are published on our website, trends, etc., I just want to kind of go over a couple of things. We're very excited because nominations for Supply and Demand Chain Executives top supply chain projects opened today. We already have seen submissions come through, so I'm very excited. That did not take very long. For those of you not so familiar with it, this used to be called SDCE 100. We renamed it this year to kind of better focus on, top supply chain projects. So make sure you go to sdcexec.com and check out that nomination form. Also, nominations for Food Logistics Top Green Providers Award are still open. They close March 21st. I know that seems far away, but trust me, it is around the corner. So get those nominations in. You can find that at foodlogistics.com. And I'll post award information in the chat so you can pull it up there. Also, we had our first two sessions of SCN Summit yesterday discussing sustainability. We had industry experts from Blue Yonder and Association for Supply Chain Management. We're talking everything from a circular economy to artificial intelligence and more. And McKenna, I know you sat in on those, just riveting with information and tons of great interaction from the audience. And so I appreciate everybody who registered and were able to be a part of it. If you are experiencing FOMO and want to learn more, you'll just have to check out the on-demand version when it goes up next week. But tomorrow, the three of us, yours truly, will be hosting an SCN Summit session on the state of sustainability. So make sure you register today or tomorrow to get your spot. We will be live at noon Central through the registration link. So make sure you register now. I'll put that link in the chat as well. And make sure you follow us on Twitter. We now have our own Twitter accounts. McKenna and Brielle, you can see theirs on theirs. This technology over here. We'll figure it out one of these days. So we'll get there, but let's talk hot industry trends in the cold chain. That's my new thing. Some of the things that I have seen is if you go to our website, we published a report from the American Transportation Research Institute that talked about the most congested bottleneck cities in the United States. I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, Consumer Brands Association partnered with CSCMP to build a national policy roadmap to protect stressed supply chains. And that's going to be cool because we have next week on Link Live, we are going to have Tom Madrecki, the Vice President of Supply Chain for Consumer Brands Association, talking with us on Link Live. So we'll be very excited to talk about that more. And then I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I know we have some other things on our website if you guys want to share. Straws to go first. Who wants to go first?
McKenna, you go first.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
I cut that down in 4 minutes or less, just so you know.
I currently have a blog over on foodlogistics.com talking about my experience with meal kits. As we have learned, as of late, I am unlucky in logistics. Everything keeps on going wrong for me, which is funny because I was just talking to one of our award winners earlier today, and we were talking about how consumer expectations are so much higher for companies, and how some people expect their packages to get shipped in 2 days or to arrive even the same day because of the Amazon effect. And here I am, I just want my packages to arrive. That's where I'm at in this. But Brielle and I have the Unboxing the Last Mile show, and for this upcoming episode, which we are hoping will be posted by the end of the month, but if not early March, it'll be up, and we decided to unbox meal kits. I personally have never used them before now, and I don't think I will use them again because it just was not great. But I don't know what well, I know Braille's experience because we talked about it, but Marina, have you tried them at all?
So we've not tried any of the meal kits online. I'm not as unlucky as you because my stuff comes packaged and ready to go, and I get the stuff that I've ordered. And I don't order online as much as I probably should, and a lot of that is because I really hate cheating on Target. And now that they have this drive up, everything is just wonderful and dandy, and they ship me stuff, and it's just fantastic. But I have heard issues with the meal kits. In fact, this morning, somebody in our neighborhood was on Facebook talking about how they were supposed to get a meal kit shipment and they didn't get it, but it was a picture. You know, sometimes they take the picture of what it looks like on the front door, and it was definitely not their front porch. So another neighbor has their meals, and I don't know if they're home or not or what the case is.
Like
and
my strawberries, my friend's
like,
strawberries.
there's strawberries, and I started laughing like, here we go with the meal kit mania, you know, like.
Oh my gosh. I do think they have really bad tracking so far. So I am supposed to get them like this next week's delivered today, and I still haven't like heard if it's shipped or not or anything. Like you have to put a lot of trust in these people, and there's only so much trust you can give to people that are delivering your food for the week. Like that.
I have pretty good tracking with it. It's just the delivered always says out for delivery after I've gotten it. That's keeps happening with the one that I'm doing right now. It's so bizarre.
And then I also, with this meal kit, I talk about it a little bit in the blog. I go very into it and during the video, but I like this package of cilantro was opened when I got it. And I don't know if it just like popped open in transit or if someone didn't seal it all the way, but the leaves were wilting on it by the time I got it. And then, so I got my first kit on Wednesday. We didn't actually make the food until Saturday, which I don't know if that's like my bad or something, but the onion that came with it was moldy. It takes onions. I looked it up. It takes like 2 months for an onion to go moldy. So like how long was it sitting in their warehouse before it?
Yeah, you have experiences I've never experienced before.
Yeah, like, I think it's just you.
Yeah, it really is just you.
And like I haven't online shopping ever since I got my first job. Like that, I remember my first paycheck when I bought my Vans Warped Tour ticket, and then I bought a dress from Forever 21. Like that is what I bought with my first paycheck, and I did all of that online. So I don't know like an adult life without that.
Right.
So I don't know why they're screwing me over so bad. I am a loyal person.
I'm having a good time. This is my meal that I made.
From your meal kit delivery?
One of them.
Okay.
And like
so when they send you stuff, do they tell you in the brochure or whenever they're sending it, like you have to eat it all by this time? Like, do they give an expiration date for this food?
It says consume within a week of the receipt date.
Oh, I just receipt date. Never mind.
Or at least that's.
But if the receipt date, let's say the receipt date is 2 days late, then you know that kind of.
I think it's different right now because they haven't had these problems, but since the pandemic, it's getting more popular.
Right.
My biggest problem with meal kits is that if I don't pay attention, then they send me the meals that I didn't adjust yet, you know, like it's like, here's your meal for the week. And then if I don't have time to look at it, it'll just go out. And then, so like we ate pork last night and we don't eat pork. Because like, I'm not going to throw it out, but, and like, so, cause there are customizations with it, but I have one customization, but it doesn't let me say like no meat. It just says like like I can't focus on just chicken. Or seafood, like it's like that would be
I'm
vegetarian.
I couldn't figure out how to customize it. I still can't, and that is and I don't know if they give that option. If someone messages me about which meal kit service I use, I will tell them and they can tell me how to customize
I
it.
can tell you. I know how to do it.
Well, okay,
So is
then
it
tell me
different
how.
by area then? Is it different by area? Maybe
No.
no? Interesting.
Well, I couldn't figure it out, but I am surprised because I feel like pork is a very like common meat that people don't consume. Like I don't eat it either, not for any particular reason besides the fact that I don't really like it. But it's like every single meal that they offer has pork. Is there just like
Yeah.
an
What is
excess
this
of it?
There may be a surplus. I don't know. They're maybe trying to like
no, it's
overshare.
just
I don't know.
what it's I think it's an easy thing to send because I've done meal kits for years and I've used so many different services and they all have so many pork recipes. I'm like, I don't want that's damn pork.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's like, so they give you like 20 or so meals to pick from each week, and like probably 15 of them are pork.
Interesting. Well, I know you've had issues with like other things too, McKenna. So not just food, but we know that you had issues with, you know, empty packages and stuff like that. I think my thing is when I do order stuff, like if I get it from like FedEx or UPS, I'm on their tracking. Like I get the email notifications, like it's on its way or whatever the case is. But USPS, they always send me the notification like hours after it's been delivered and it's been sitting like in front of our garage, or it's like in random spots because it's being delivered by the mail person versus like an actual driver. So that's like, then it gets really weird because it's like, wait a minute, I have it in my hand and it's kind of like what you said, Brielle, like not, I'm getting the notification like hours later, like sometimes a day later, like it was delivered. And I'm like, I know I'm using it. Like, thank you.
So our boss commented on it.
Yay, John. I was thinking of him when you were talking because I was like, because he always likes to show us the pictures of the packaging of different meal kits when they change.
I
That's so funny.
right now. So I'm using what he uses right now. And I will tell you that I do get a lot of chicken and shrimp recipes and I like that. But the 1 week that I didn't pay attention to my recipes, I got pork and that irritated me. You should in this episode, Brielle and McKenna complain about their meal kits after unboxing.
We already did session. It's just a bench session.
Oh, and I think, so I was a little sick this week, and I think it was from the meal kit.
I was just going to say that. Well. I was just going to say that because she messaged and said, I may have a little food poisoning. I'm not sure. And I was like, ooh, that's awful. So, but then as you were talking, I thought in my head, like, okay, I remember the onion. I remember the thing that was open, which everybody will see in the pictures. I posted, you know, the link to her article online in the chat. So just go there. But yeah, it may have been something. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's why I asked about the expiration date.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But you'll find out more when the video goes live. But I guess that meal kit companies are investing a lot in technology to prevent spoilage.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm sure you can say more about it, Brielle, but it like blew my mind.
So Maria, you know, there's technology in warehouses to help food stay fresher for longer by reducing oxygen levels and things like that. Well, they do that in the actual boxes. They'll reduce the actual oxygen in the boxes that you get from the meal kit service. So I thought that was super cool.
So when you get your meal kits, is it in a cooler? Is it come pretty well?
Oh my gosh,
protected?
I'm really close to my fridge, so I'll grab it.
I was gonna go get mine. No, but
because I think that's half the challenge for these companies is getting it en route. You know, we watched on I think it was the History Channel, The Food That America Built or something like that. Like it's a whole series, and it's super cool. But it talks about Clarence. His last name is escaping me because I'm having so many senior old people moments today. I was telling the girls I spent 5 minutes trying to figure out why I couldn't hear on my earbuds because I didn't have plugged in. Like it's just one of those like old people things. So, anyways, but Clarence, whatever his last name, he founded Birdseye. he was the inventor of it, but there's like this whole thing, and it talks about how he had this great idea and he has all these frozen foods, but like think back to that time, nobody had freezers, they had ice boxes. So like the technology and the challenge has always been in the transportation sector of moving it from the facility to, which is now people's front doors. Let me see. See, I don't have my glasses on, so now I can't even see this.
It's very cool. When it comes, so all the food is rested on this giant ice pack for reference. Oh God.
And that's all it was sitting on?
I am 4'11". It is like the size of my entire torso.
Okay.
But it's
all very cool, and it's every meal kit I've gotten is very organized in their packaging. I always think it's great. McKenna's just unlucky.
But it comes with this giant ice pack, which now I can now see that it tells you how to recycle it.
Hey, I was just going to say that. Now that is pretty cool. Because you can't recycle those things.
In unboxing, we had a conversation about what to do with it.
Yes, and I guess I can't read. So, but it tells you how to recycle it, and you just cut a corner, empty the non-toxic contents into trash, and then recycle the plastic. However, isn't all the contents in here toxic? Isn't that how it's? I don't know much about chemicals.
I don't know either, but that's a good question, and that's something that we can talk about at a later link live, or even in your unboxing, get one of these packaging guys on to talk about that, because to me, this is brand new information that you could recycle this kind of stuff because you've never been able to. So I think that's pretty cool.
It says not to be used on body or medical injuries. Do you know who might know about what's in here? My dad. He works in a chemical warehouse.
Well, let's bring Papa Morales on. So our boss, John Minnick, thank you for commenting, and thank you for watching, because they never watch live. Nobody watches live.
A shout out to our publisher, Jason, who's actually watching today.
Hey, yay! I don't know about that. He's been teasing me, so I don't know.
That's what he's saying. He's commenting on what that's what it is.
So he says those freezer packs say I can use for plant food, but then doesn't tell me anything about what it is and if it's safe for veggies or not. So that's interesting. And yes, I'm subscribing to that episode with freezer pack guys.
All right. So now we got
we just give ourselves some homework. But no, I think it is interesting. Yes, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go.
No. I'm segueing out of here. So.
Okay.
Speaking of freezing vegetables and the bird's eye man that you've discussed, I recently finished working on the 3PL fresh versus frozen story for our March issue. So that's coming out soon. And that was really interesting because so many, the jump in frozen foods has really made a big impact since COVID started. So a lot of people are looking for longer term foods. And there's a lot of information out there about how frozen food is is just as healthy as fresh produce. So, there's not really anything different in getting the frozen food. So people we're stocking up a lot in the beginning of the pandemic, but it's kind of slowed down now. But the increase in demand, it didn't go back to normal. There's still an increase in demand for frozen food. It's just obviously not as insane as it was at the start of the pandemic. So I thought that was really interesting, and it's definitely affecting 3PLs and the cold storage sector in general.
Well, and especially now because, we talked to, and I know, Brielle, you have your 3PL article on foodlogistics.com right now that talks about some of those best practices that these 3PLs. But I think the other thing that kind of throws that out of whack, or doesn't throw it out of whack, is now some of these food guys are now transporting the COVID vaccine because they already have that infrastructure in place. They already have, the cold storage units that are designed to store stuff at a certain temperature, which is what these vaccines require. So I think that's from people that I've talked to, that's kind of like, it's a game changer in terms of how that crossover happens, which is why we manage both magazines at the same time, because there is so much crossover. So that's super interesting. So back to your article, Brielle, what else do we want to talk about yours? I know you talked about the best practices. Oh, wait,
I have a question
Yes.
really fast about frozen food, because now I'm just curious, and I'm curious for our viewers, what frozen foods have you stocked up on since the pandemic started?
Me, corn, remember?
Corn.
Corn.
For days.
Because so please don't drag me for this, but I don't like pizza that much. But the amount of frozen pizza
That's
we
it.
have
I'm
bought,
signing off right now. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore.
the amount of frozen pizza we have bought since the pandemic started is like outrageous.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of frozen vegetables, lots of frozen broccoli, lots of frozen cauliflower, corn.
Me too.
Yeah.
I also have frozen fruits and vegetables. I just don't only eat
I
frozen
don't
pizza.
do frozen fruit, but Mike does. And I hate that. I think it's lumpy and gross.
Frozen fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Yeah. They have a whole frozen fruit section.
Our publisher says frozen burritos, which sounds gross,
But you know, that's the thing with frozen foods, because where I used to work, it was specifically, that's all we did was cover frozen foods, refrigerated foods. And so like we were, you know, that's all we covered. And the amount of time that I was there and watching that in that sector of the industry just kind of grow, because now there's so many more choices. You know, now they have choices where they have keto frozen meals and they have gluten-free frozen meals. Now they have meal kits for kids and they have all these things. I would say with my kids being home, it's been chicken nuggets, it's been frozen pizza. We do the frozen vegetables just because we do eat a lot and we can't always get to the grocery store. So we have them as like backup. But it's really been the frozen pizza and the chicken nuggets. And then obviously a lot of proteins. We have a protein pretty much every meal. So, and we used to buy the air fried chicken, and then we bought an air fryer because we just were like, that's crazy that we don't do that. But that's what we've stocked up on, along with stuff that's not in the frozen aisle, like liquor.
That entire time you were talking, Marina, about the frozen foods, I thought you were talking about frozen burritos, about like the different kinds.
No,
I was like, oh, interesting.
So
I'm sure there's a frozen pizza burrito. I'm just, we'll ask Jason. We'll see if he's heard of it.
I like my.
You what?
I like my frozen burritos. That's all. They're okay.
End of discussion. But the frozen pizzas, like there's all different kinds. Like we get the ones that have like the cauliflower crust, and then there's like other ones, and they're actually pretty good. And then we buy the regular ones for the kids because they don't like anything with a vegetable in it. So
that's how you're supposed to trick them.
Yeah, but it says, you know, my kids can read, so they're like, wow, I'm eating this and it has cauliflower. I'm done. I'm not eating it anymore. And it's like, okay. Oh, really? You just ate half of it. But okay. So, but yeah, no, it's all about hiding it. So no, so those are some good topics. And then I was just going on. So a lot of that is on foodlogistics.com. I've put a lot of the links in our chat, and then on sccexec.com, there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of procurement, in terms of trucking, ERP, you know, and then obviously our top supply chain projects award, which is open. So thank you to those who've already submitted nominations. It's like they were waiting. It's like they've been waiting for this day to open, and then they're like, boom, I'm submitting it. So I'm so excited. So keep submitting stuff. Foodlogistics.com. We have top, did I say that right? Yeah, top green providers. And then our top supply chain on sdcexec.com. And then make sure you register. Yes. Are you raising your hand? Or
yes.
Yes.
Yes. If anyone is interested in participating in the 3PL story for April for Food Logistics, it's focused on regulatory compliance and recalls. So reach out to me, Brielle B. Jekyll at acbusinessmedia.com, because I'm still looking for some interviews on that.
And I included our Twitters on here too, so that's a
Yes.
good way to DM us. Which I had to Google the other day because I was like, "What is that?" Because people in their acronyms send me stuff. What was the other one I had to look up? McKenna, you're always sending me stuff with acronyms, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Same.
"Okay, I'll just go to Google," and then I'm like, "Oh, it's in case you didn't know, or in case you need to know, or something like that." I'm like, "Whatever."
Just so you know, that's the one that we were like, oh, like, what does that mean?
And I send it like every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, finally, like, I have no idea what she's saying. I need to figure this out because it's like a different language.
The
So-
whole first half of 2020, I was like, what is this word?
Oh my God, I love it. But that's why we work so well. So I love it. So yes, make sure you get to Brielle with your topics. Lots of things cooking. Our March issue comes out for both publications. We're so excited in the middle of March, so keep your eyes peeled for that stuff. Lots of fun things cooking. Make sure you download our Link podcast. I put the link to that in our chat as well. Link to the link. So no, nobody? That's not funny?
It took me a second. I got it.
I need a new audience, man. I'm just joking. But more importantly, make sure you register for tomorrow, SCN Summit on sustainability. I promise we'll be a little bit more buttoned up and have a lot more information, and we won't talk so much about frozen foods, but we will talk to you about sustainability and what's going on in the sustainable atmosphere of the world. So we're very excited about that. That's at noon Central. So make sure you register so you can secure your spot, whether you watch it live or on demand. Whatever the case is, just make sure you register. Also, tune in next week, 11 a.m. Central, where we'll be chatting with Tom Madrecki, Vice President of Supply Chain for Consumer Brands Association. We're going to be talking about how the new administration's impact on CPG supply chains. And that I'm very excited about because, as we all know, the growth of CPG has just gone out the roof because of the pandemic. So it'll be very interesting to hear from him on all different facets of what's going on in the CPG landscape. Thank you to our boss, John Minnick, for watching. Thank you to our group publisher, Jason Tassau, for watching, because they never do. And thank you to all of our other viewers who do continue to watch us. Thank you. I forgot to include Plum the Pillow joined us today. Forgot to include that. So thank you for joining us, Plum. And thank you, ladies, as always, for the fun time, because this is how we get to talk to each other. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate all of our readers and our viewers. Make sure you see foodlogistics.com and scexec.com, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.